for joining us today, right now, on this marvelous occasion, happening every week at this point. It's great to have you here. Let us know who you are and what you're all about, what your thoughts are on the episode number 8 of House of the Dragon, which is what we're talking about today. And with me, as always...
Please,
oh, don't interrupt me!
leave your life stories. I'm sorry. You just left it.
Oh, come on.
Please leave your life stories in the comments below. Please, your entire story as long as you can.
Walls of text are great for algorithms, so let's do that. Welcome, big welcome to everyone, and especially to you, my esteemed colleague and dear friend, Justin Anderson.
Why, hello. He's been practicing this in a mirror for the past week. I hope you guys know. He's like I said. I've said this before because it's true. I know it to be true.
Yes, and today we are covering topics such as good things happening in the episode. We're staying positive again. How about that? Don't you just love it?
We're trying, fam.
We are doing our best, so bear with us, even though it's not going to be a massive section. We're covering time jumps, and we're going to try and not linger too much on the same old problems that is plaguing literally every single episode of the show. Oh my goodness, I'm doing it again. Stay positive. We're going to be talking about Alicent in particular, because I think she is undergoing some serious changes and developments. They're trying out some things with her, which is going to be interesting to talk about. We're going to talk about characters aging and not aging. We will be talking about nuances and messages and great acting performances, because goodness gracious, is Paddy Considine the talk of the town this week after a big performance and a big curtain drop on his part.
I will give this show credit where it's due. That the acting, when they want to have good acting, they let them do really good things.
It's almost like they've good actors.
It's crazy when you kind of let the actors kind of like live their own like character, if that makes sense. Like
when they're given something to work with.
Yeah, and they're when they have really good scenes to work with, they do favorably well. So I can't deny that. Now, however, that doesn't make up the fact for how stiff some of the other dialogue and acting performances come. And I don't feel that's the actor's fault, but the direction to the actors, because everyone's kind of being given the same direction.
Yeah.
But I digress. Very
well. And that puts me on a forced segue into saying, look at that chat, huh? Look at who's with us today. We've got Rohan and we've got Uriah, as always. Shukri is right there with us in our corner, as always. Jigna, welcome. And to everyone else joining in as we go along, big welcome to you. As always, we love to hear you guys' opinion, and let's have a big, old, fuzzy conversation going on here, guys, about our favorite continent in the fantasy world of Westeros. Here we go. Oh, and look at that. It's Sarah. Welcome, Sarah. Good to have you with us. All right.
Sarah. Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
So, where do we start, Justin?
Please. Oh, well, before we start, again, in the chat, if you got stuff you want us to talk about, feel free to leave us like some positives and some negatives you want us to go into.
Oh, yes. As many positives as you can.
You can give us to talk about better, because we're trying. I promise. We do look at your comments, and we do realize we're maybe a little overly negative sometimes, but we are very critical sometimes, but we do it out of love.
It's coming from a place of love. That's right.
A love for good writing.
Yes, exactly. And at the end, of course, as always, we'll be rating the episode on a scale of pizza toppings. That's what we're doing this week.
Crap.
Hello to House Ramos. Welcome to you. And to everyone else, please leave your earnest opinions on the episode. I'm going to start.
By the way, we are a real YouTube channel now because someone commented first. I see Rohan commented first. So no, I don't believe a YouTube channel is real unless you consistently see someone posting first. You know,
indeed,
because that has been a thing that's been going on for the past 20 years.
Yeah,
consistently. Well, 15 years, but still.
Yeah,
I feel like we're slowly rising.
It's a sign of success. Like screw the numbers of viewers and subscribers and all that. It's the substance in the comments that we're looking for. I encourage people to be haters as well as lovers of content on YouTube, because that is how you know that you're reaching out. Really, you're touching people's hearts for better or worse. So keep up the love and the hate alike. So I want to start by touching on the consensus or the conversation as it goes in the community tab on YouTube, and what we have here for the vote on the verdict on episode 8. We've got 50% of the 6,700 people voting saying it's amazing, with 15% saying it's pretty good, 2% saying it's not great, 1% saying it's awful, and 31% who haven't seen it or won't watch it in the first place. So we've got an overwhelming love for this episode, and I think that is... Let's actually have a look-see and see, is that the most appreciated episode so far? I'm gonna have to...
I was gonna ask, there's been I know one of the other ones was pretty close, but I don't know if it was past 60%.
Yeah, no, I think this is the first one that's got 50% amazing. There were some episodes that really didn't do well in the polls, but this one has done. Yes, as far as I can see, I'm scrolling down through the polls now, and I'm seeing it's a landslide, guys. People love this episode, there are some really good things to talk about, and we already touched on the acting performances, which I think is the big takeaway here. And not to beat around the bush, it's Paddy Considine as Viserys, isn't it? That's been keeping people engaged this week. So how about that, Justin? Let's take it away. How about Paddy Considine?
Take it away.
Bowing out, hopefully one final time, or is he gonna Rolling Stones and come back? Who knows? It doesn't look like it, does it? That looked definite, didn't it?
Definitive is the word you're looking for.
Definitive. Oh my goodness! Don't listen to me, guys.
Are you okay?
That's why I'm hoping
struggling?
you'll just interrupt me and
is
just
this
take
a call
it away.
For help?
It is.
I don't see it. I will say that there were some nice scenes. There were things that I thought, oh, that's nice. That's cool. That's interesting. But this episode did feel very just how can I put this in a positive way? It's different. There we go.
Classic.
I wasn't a fan. I thought more people were more active last episode. This episode, it was still our main Alicent and Otto are being more active now, so that's something. Rhaenyra isn't being very active. She's just she's doing what she's always done, which is complain, have sex, and offer her kids
Sure.
for like for a deal of some kind. I don't know.
Yeah, the character agency or activity was significantly lower than last episode, where it was pretty high comparatively. Thanks for the super chat from Sarah, who is bringing up a funny parallel between Viserys and the Mummy, the Brendan Fraser Mummy way back when. I did. What did you think about that, Justin? I thought it was a little too CGI-y. They could have probably kept it a little bit more realistic looking.
I mean, it's fine.
It is.
It's fine. They wanted like a bit more of like a guttural like type appeal. It was a little over top, but I was fine with it.
Yeah.
I
was thinking about
I felt like was bad.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, it's totally a nitpick on my part. So it did remind me of what is that movie called? I've been thinking about it ever since I saw the episode. Kingdom of Heaven. That's it, isn't it? With the emperor king who's covering himself, his entire face with a mask. Very similar to that Viserys has, although Viserys only covered half. But in Kingdom
this
of Heaven,
also reminds me of that one movie with Batman, the Joker. There's this guy called Two-Face.
Okay, yeah. There's a
it always
parallel,
comes back to the Dark Knight.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, but yeah, that was a fine development, I guess. King is slowly deteriorating, and then eventually, goodbye. What did you think of his acting performance?
Funny.
Because that was what I was trying to talk about before. Yes. Because that's been basically the talk of the town this week. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, apparently George R.R. Martin talked to the actor and let him know that his rendition of Viserys is better than he imagined the book.
Wow.
According to Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Twitter is to believe.
I do not believe in Twitter, but I could believe in that because I do enjoy Paddy Considine's performance. Not to the extent that a lot of people seem to be really enjoying it. Like, whoa, best actor ever, every single episode, and I don't see that. But
if the king mattered more to the story, it and I know he's like an important part, but like he just comes in and says the same thing. And like the second he dies is when I think the story is going to actually start. I feel like the king's life is what's keeping us back from the story happening.
Sure.
So that's been
I mean, we did see
frustration
the moment he left the dinner. That's when the gloves came off, and they started fighting internally again. Just the moment he left.
To be fair, I thought that was a character scene for Aemond. Aemond, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. For he talks the big talk, but he waits for the king to leave in order to do this taunt.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about all of the times where he's he is strong and like he seems very scary and intimidating, but he also seems a little bit cowardice to be like that in front of anyone that could get him in trouble,
Yeah.
So
he's calm and calculating in that way.
Interesting.
I really enjoy the casting of that guy. Like, he looks like such a villain. I love it. I can't wait to see more of him, honestly.
Another positive for the show. Look at us.
Exactly. There we go. Look at us. Yeah, keep it going.
We're 2 for 2.
We got
the casting, the child casting has been mainly favorable. I have to say.
I noticed something.
I really had a problem.
Exactly. No, I actually really agree. But I thought Aemond, the new adult Aemond with the patched eye, he looked more like Aegon, like younger Aegon. You know what I mean? And then so sort of like the child actors for Aegon and Aemond look like the opposite adult actors of Aegon and Aemond. But then again, they are. Aegon is older, right? So you couldn't have switched them anyway. But I wanted to touch on Jigna's comment there that Viserys will probably get an Emmy for this performance as Viserys. Since the Emmys are a popularity contest in the end, I'm sure you're right, Jigna. It's not about quality, not as much as popularity, as I understand it. I could be wrong. So I'm totally with you. And when it comes to quality performances, I think probably Matt Smith is worthy of one, much more so than Paddy Considine. However, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be too fussed if he got one, Paddy. So yeah, what do you think?
I agree. Between the two of them, I could see either one getting something from this, and especially considering the popularity of the show, that'll have a big sway in that award, in my opinion.
And the competition is not too high this year, is it?
Like, what else is there to compete with?
Yeah.
Like, in my brain, I'm thinking there's the Lord of the Rings show, obviously, which I have heard. There's more things happening in the show, but I haven't heard very much about like performances in that show that have been very, very like pow, eye-opening or anything like that.
I have definitely not heard as much praise for acting performances for Lord of the Rings as I've heard for House of the Dragon.
I've heard more narrative praise in Lord of the Rings, though.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Just putting it out there.
I'm looking forward to checking out Lord of the Rings. I haven't had the time to do that, of course. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
What? Are you writing a video or something?
Yeah, go a week apparently burns a man out. So apologies for not having released episode 6 in a nutshell yet, guys. If anyone is out there looking for an apology, there you have it. Yeah, I've been a little burnt out, so I had to slow down before it starts affecting me badly. Just a little personal update there, but I'm still working on it, still chugging away, so it's coming out. They're all coming out, all 10 episodes, and some every error and seasonal reviews on top of it. So much to look forward to. I'm enthusiastic and excited still, so that. Yeah, so what are some other positives that we can bring up from this episode in particular? I think Aemond, to be fair, is my biggest positive. We could talk about how they aged some of the characters really well, like Alicent. Very much trying to not talk about how some of them didn't age at all, Rhaenyra, and just stay on Alicent for a bit because. I think they're trying some interesting things with her and her kind of role as well. They're trying to nuance her. So let's talk about Alicent. I really like Olivia Cook as Alicent. What did you make of her this episode? Justin?
I thought she was doing good. Her portrayal was nice. I want to see her be more mixed about all this, because she is, fighting against her best friend or previous best friend, and, mad at her for all the terrible things she's done to kind of like, and being spoiled and just kind of doing for the crown, but also like inadvertently also doing messed up things, and her marriage to the king itself being a messed up like power play in order to get get the Greens into the crown, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Otto putting his grandchildren on the throne.
Yeah, and then so seeing her, I want to see her be more conflicted about all this.
Yes.
Instead of just being so flaunted and moved about. And she's kind of changed as a character. I'm not saying she hasn't changed, and that has been good. I just want her to be far more conflicted about everything.
She was back in season back in episode, I think it was 3 or 4, where she was making a case for Rhaenyra when speaking to Otto. And Otto was just, turning away at the same old arguments, saying that, Rhaenyra's going to kill your children. So, but then Alicent was just like, no, she's going to be queen. She's going to be a good queen, and that's it. But she seems to have forgotten that, and which could be fine, but I want to see her gradually forget it. I don't want it to just be gone in the next episode. I mean, the time skips don't help, do they? So many developments that we don't get to see happening, and then just skipped past a lot of things. Getting some interesting comments. Gonna jump on this. I'm sorry. Pointing out that Justin is most likely very handsome, and he wants to see you be more conflicted. Which, you know what? I agree entirely. I bet you're handsome. Well, I do know what you look like, so I can confirm he is.
Now, curious what your opinions of the last episode or the past whole show. What things are you conflicted about, or do you think is good?
Very well.
Going back to what you were saying, though, about Alicent, I will say, seeing her being much more her own character is compared to the beginning of the show, where she was this pawn in her father's plan. So that was a good progression.
Yeah.
I just wish it would be more, we could see her having more of a character instead of just being, oh, I have turned into the person my father wanted me to be. Hooray.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I like as always, like with all these things that they're trying to do, I like it. I like what they're trying to do, and I like where they're going with all of it. It's just a matter of execution, right? And the time skips just make it very hard to execute these things well. Of course, it's a shame. But there are things to appreciate. I like this development a lot of where she's going, but I would have liked to see more of it. Would you agree with that?
I just want to see more of anything.
Yeah, right. We did get to see a bit of Aemond, like back to my favorite character now, my new favorite. How about
your new bestie?
My
Aemond.
new bestie, Aemond. What about him? How did you feel like they used him in this episode? Because I have my opinions, my nuanced opinions.
Nuanced. I'm very nuanced as well, as you know. The show, they're setting him up to be this evil, terrible, menacing character, but we have seen him steal a dragon. Oh, sorry, not Aemond. That was the other brother.
No, that was Aemond. Yeah,
that was Aegon. That was Aemond.
That was Aemond.
I thought it was Aegon.
No, Aemond is the guy who lost an eye. Now he's.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. We can come on to Aegon as well. The rapist.
Okay.
Yeah. But Aemond is the dragon stealing, eye
the great
losing.
Kids.
Yes.
I just want more behind him, because right now Aemond and Aegon, for that matter, we've just seen them like do things in the background. I want them to be more
activity.
I want to be focusing on them instead of just having all this backstory and set up for this meeting that doesn't matter in the long scheme, since the king comes and makes it not matter anyways.
Right.
We have all these opportunities for these characters to interact, and we're not getting them. Especially since I have the feeling they're going to be the people that we're focusing on for the next chapter of this story, so to speak, the next season. I'm imagining this is all set up for that. In the same vein that a la Game of Thrones, a lot of the younger characters are kind of set up to be, pieces of this overall narrative that we find out as the show goes on. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I hope I'm making sense.
Definitely. Totally missed the opportunity to say no and bully you for a bit, but that's not the kind of person I am. No, I totally agree, and I think it's again kind of comes back to them sort of wasting time on completely unnecessary stuff, dragging out dialogue, strangely enough, and even scenes that don't they just could have cut out entirely. Like when Rhaenyra is greeted by Lord Caswell or whatever at the Red Keep. I was like, what is this? Like, they are using their precious screen time on this? Like, and then they're gonna hurry through some like interesting developments. Jesus. But yeah, as you said, I just want to see more of them as well. And I think in season 2 we probably will. I mean, this could just me being naively hopeful that HBO has tested the waters now with this new spin-off. People actually kind of like it, and then they might just maybe take the time in season 2 to tell this story and to have us get to know the characters.
Apparently, according to Araya, there's no more time skips. Is that correct?
No, that is probably right. Yeah,
time skips.
As far as I understand, that's probably right. And I mean, you don't really need any more time skips now because the king is most likely dead now. So now the really intense moments from the books can really start to take place. Yeah, I'm obviously not going to spoil anything, but there are some. I imagine episode 9 is going to be a big one. Like always, that's not a spoiler because that's a Game of Thrones tradition. Yeah, and what else was I going to say? Oh, I was so disappointed by, and someone touched on this in the chat earlier, about how Aemond, is that his name? The brother of Corlys, how he died. That made sense and all in a way, but then not at all, and then okay, I guess, you know. In the books, he gets eaten by a dragon, which is so much cooler, and is another missed opportunity to fill the dragon quota for the episode, and also make the dragons matter in the story.
So him getting killed by Daemon, that's a different.
It's a change, yeah.
That's different. That's a change.
That's a change.
Why would they do that?
Yeah,
I laughed out loud when that happened because I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna just let him get away with this, aren't they?" And of course they do. He just cuts this guy's head off in court, and he's like, you know, what else was I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that wasn't a Daemon thing to do. But the fact that he does it, and then we just cut to them having dinner.
Yeah. Like, he didn't even get banished, what? You know? They didn't even banish him this time. Like, they just like, consequences?
He's been banished for less things.
Yes.
You know?
The guy's been banished multiple times for much less. That's true. But maybe at this point, Viserys is just like, yeah, well, he's just gonna unbanish himself. It's no use. Let's go have dinner.
Just have dinner.
Yeah. Exactly. No, that's gross and uncomfortable are the words being thrown around. I see by Sarah. I mean, it is what it is. Gross and uncomfortable, I suppose, is a bit subjective, but I agree. There was a bit of shock factor to it as well, which kind of enhances the.
But him doing it like that and then like not have to pay any consequences doesn't seem to be the way to do it. If he had some sort of consequence, anything, I feel like that would give us.
We don't even get like sideways looks during the dinner table, at the dinner table, or anything. I mean, they've
all forgotten
the Valerian kids. You know, we don't see anything of that. It's just they're just sitting there at dinner, and their uncle.
That's just Uncle Daemon.
It's just Uncle Daemon killing Uncle Aemond. You know, that's what happens. I guess.
So I like the idea of it. I just wish it was more well thought out and like used within the narrative of the show as a whole.
I think I'm not the only one who's really looking forward to see him getting eaten by a dragon. You know, come on, who's with me, guys? Who else was looking forward to seeing him get eaten by a dragon? I've seen people talk about this in the polls, so I know I'm not alone in that.
I'm sure someone will be eaten by a dragon. You'll be fine.
Yes, I'm sure. Yes, yeah. Or maybe they'll just fly around pointlessly in the sky, and that will be it. I'm totally looking forward to being dragons fight each other. That's not a massive spoiler. That's pretty obvious, right? That will be cool, I think. I hope it won't be pointless. Or maybe it will be another Robb Stark moment where they're just like, oh yeah, so there was this dragon battle, right? And we won. Very successful.
I like the point. The point that we keep coming back to is that we should have started the show like much farther in to the show, like episode 5 or 6. I see Araya saying that, and Tiny Bug Boy mentioning how that all of this is just set up. It's so much setup. It's so
yeah, but so much of Game of Thrones was set up as well. You know, although
I'm still Team Burn. He is kind of awful. Like I like him, and I like seeing him interact with everyone.
Yeah, I just when you said that about David, when you described him,
I guess the kids now.
I just immediately came to think of that Rihanna pop song. Where she goes, I may be bad, but I'm perfectly good at it. That's just like Daemon in a nutshell. Anyway, that's my that's my little tangent on that. As for me, Saul Goodman is Team Green. Jigna, I'm right with you. I'm Team Aemond. No, not Aemond. I'm Team Aemond. Oh, that's a completely different person. Okay. My bad. My mistake.
I was going to say, what?
Yeah, nope, sorry. Team Aemond. Yeah, I root for the guy who got his head split in two. No, I'm Team Aemond with Vhagar. That seems like a cheap supporter trick to just go plastic and just go with the guy who's obviously going to win. But yeah, so... and I kind of know how the story goes anyway. So yeah, I'm also Team Burn Them All, to be fair. If I have to be completely honest. No, so
just anything.
Yeah, yeah. I'm team. Make something happen, please. That's who I'm rooting for.
Well, again, it's not even about making things happen. It's just I just want to. There has to be someone that has some amount of good in them.
Yeah, that gives us a reason to care.
Something that I can relate to.
Sure.
Like Tyrion is an awful character in every regard, but you could support him because he's got there is a good heart in there somewhere deep down.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
you could relate to his you can laugh off his awful side and be like, oh wow, I do like this.
Was disappointed because that was way too much in my opinion. It's like the exact same outfit. It's a little bit ridiculous.
I see.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's interesting, but it was very on the nose in my opinion. But then again, I'm a total super duper geek nerd, and
he is.
I think any reference at this point is too on the nose. Apparently. No,
that's what his parents were initially going to name him when he was a kid, but they
Super
they
Duper
chose,
Geek Nerd,
Culture Vulture instead.
Yes,
yeah, that was going to be the name of the channel and your name, like your birth name.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's it's a tough choice. Sometimes I think they went with the wrong one, but I'm fine with being named Culture Vulture. Perfect name for a baby boy. A big recommendation for any pregnant couples out there. Anyway, so what were we actually talking about? And she is being a pretty much a hard ass, doing sort of the political move and sort of sweeping up that problem, giving the girls some moon tea just to be safe, and basically sort of sorting out the situation. And that seems really harsh. And I was like, okay, so this is her looking like Cersei, being really harsh. But then in the next scene, she goes on to be this really, this champion of the people, and berating her son and doing that thing that every good person wants to do and shout at the rapist for being a bad person. And she does that. And I'm just like, To be fair to Alicent's character, that is in character for her. That's not the first time she's yelled at her son for similar things, and the fact that this is the very problem that she's mad at Rhaenyra for, so she could be taking it out on him and saying like thinking the same, like she has to deal with this even without Rhaenyra, right?
You know,
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point, actually.
So I think that's fine. I didn't have a problem with that. It did feel like we already had this problem like well established, with him.
Yeah, he's
jerking out the window like last time. We're just doing this again just to kind of mirror the problem with Rhaenyra. I think that's what the main thing was. They wanted to emphasize, hey, look, now Alicent has to deal with the same problem that Rhaenyra did. Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I get it. It makes sense that it's ironic, but it's also just so in your face about it.
Yeah, and repetitive. It just comes back.
So
same again, and it's the same again. It's the same again. It's like, we get it, Cho. Thank you, got it. He's a douchebag. But yeah. So again, with spending precious screen time on things that we kind of already knew. But my point was sort of that I found this to be I didn't find it to be nuanced enough. These two scenes of Alicent being a hard ass to the rape victim and then being a hard ass on the rapist. I found it to be a little bit like the show wants to kind of have the cake and eat it too.
In what way?
Because she's being a hard ass on both of them. And I get it, but I just found that it would have been so much more interesting if she makes a choice. Because that's what's interesting when people make choices. I want the choices to be made and the consequences to be suffered. That's so much to ask. Am I crazy?
Maybe
Tell me if I'm crazy. Chat, am I crazy? Uriah doesn't think I'm crazy. Uriah says
making a matter of making a choice. I want to see her conflicted, and we don't see that. We see her being both, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather see her trying to be both and failing.
Ooh, okay, I like that.
If that makes sense, I think that's much more interesting, and that's what they're trying to do here. But I don't think it's working. Does that make sense?
Yes. No. Yeah.
They're showing her being right. Very queenly and astute. I have to make sure. And what happens to a young girl? This is for your troubles. Blah, 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 blah. And being very cold, and then having to be very emotional with her son, and trying.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's
trying
right.
to get through to him.
Yeah, by screaming at him and causing a divide. Yeah, that's parenting 101. I'm picking up an interesting conversation here going on between Uriah and Sarah, as always. Keep it up, guys. That bad, probably, or from what I understood from the scene, she got them out. I think how a lot of the times it seems to me that the show is asking us to speculate in order to understand, because they make some things abundantly clear, whilst other things are left a little bit ambiguous, because to me it seems that the show does not want to make a choice. They don't want to take a stand. Like, what happened to Corlys? He's out there some place. He could be dead. He could be alive. Same thing with Rhaenyra. And it's up to us to speculate and look at the clues and what did they say about this and that, and then we can be like, yeah. The show is providing the clues, so But no, anything could still happen. The show could just bring both of them back and be like, hey, here they are. They never died, and now they're here again, conveniently for us. And they're just not taking that stand,
I don't think it's that type of problem, because I think that's just a fan problem where people watching a show tend to do that, regardless of the show, where they see something and they latch onto it because of of possibility, especially when a show comes out week to week, and with shows that have a lot more a mysterious element and with surprises on the line.
Very good point.
And Game of Thrones obviously tends to do that a lot. And obviously Rhaenyra, is he going to come back or not? I don't think it. I think maybe they'll have it. They've added some twists and some new additions. He might come back for something later. Who knows? I think they did that just as we'll plant the seed in case we want to come back to it.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's like they don't decide now. They don't take a stance. they're like, maybe we'll need him later, so we'll just leave him rowing, and can row him back whenever we want to, whenever it's convenient for
Game of
us.
Thrones did the same thing occasionally, where some characters would be like, they would come back. They'd be rowing. Gendry for me is
Literally
out rowing
Gendry,
somewhere
yeah.
still.
Yeah, it's true. That's right, but that also was built up to in a very different way, wasn't it? Anyway, I find that an interesting discussion, and I'm very worried because they made a change from the book, and that change is worrying to me because he dies in the book, and now they've decided to keep him alive. So it seems to me that their intention is to bring him back, because otherwise, why would they keep him alive? Is it because Rhaenyra? So, yeah. Now they murdered a guard instead, and they look like great people. Not wonderful. But yeah, that's interesting. I
don't have a problem with it as you do, but
yeah,
say
it's just that I'm worried, because I don't like it when characters are put on ice, sort of sidelined, and then they can be brought back whenever convenient. Like, no, I want a stance to be made, choices to be made. If you live or you die, you're in or out.
I think you're only saying that because this is different than the book, I think. Because in the book, he for sure dies, supposedly, according to the Maesters. And then for here, we don't know for sure. And I think that's fine to do it that way, because if the frame, let's say that this House of the Dragon show, I can't believe I'm defending House of the Dragon right now. Let's say House of the Dragon, there was no book before this, and this is all happening independent of itself. And then Rhaenyra leaving or getting, that happening, would you have a problem with it? I don't think you would. I think knowing that it's the substitution for him not dying, compared to
and a show, is that in the book it's all planned out. This is all planned out, and it leads somewhere. But the show, it's not all planned out. So in the show, anything could still happen because they can make any changes they want. But once the book is written and published, it's all published in one go. Now we're getting seasons individually, season by season, which I think is a problem because they're kind of leaving that option open without making that decision now. It's a little bit like, oh, no, I can't spoil Game of Thrones for you, but let's just put it this way. At the end of season 5, a character... It's ridiculous. At the end of season 5, a character, doesn't matter if they are large or small characters, is seen confronted. Let's call it a confrontation, maybe, with another character who supposed to see the kill happen. And so it sort of felt like, oh, are they leaving their options open here that they can, turn around next season and be like, oh, well, it turns out that the character didn't die in the end because in the end, they didn't actually kill them. They showed mercy. It just kind of felt like that. And yeah, it seems like Uriah is kind of agreeing with me there, that it creates plot issues later on, which it does not in the book because he's just gone, and there you go. But yeah, who knows? The book is not a perfect example either because just like you said, the Maesters, it's like the Maester perspective. So it's there's a room for interpretation even there and speculation. So, which of course makes it interesting too. So it's not like for better or worse in the book, but I think it is for worse in the show for sure. All right. There was one interesting comment I got on, or that we got on the, previous stream from last week. So, And it was something that I felt. I mean, it's another recurring problem that happens in the show, even in this episode as well. So I feel like it's relevant to bring it up. And it's the inconsistency in which the show makes points or works with exposition, how they show us things. Sometimes it's abundantly clear. Sometimes it's a bit ambiguous or not very clear at all. And I've been complaining about this for a long time. And somebody pointed out that it was a bit inconsistent of me to complain about those things. So I just want to take it out with you. What do you think? Am I going too far in addressing that sort of inconsistency, or am I the one who's being inconsistent when I am complaining that sometimes they are too on the nose and sometimes they're not clear enough? Is it just me sort of complaining either way? Or am I looking for this unobtainable perfection or something? Am I being too harsh is what I'm asking. And chat, feel free to weigh in. I'm really interested to hear what you all have to say about that, because it's something that's been really bugging me, like this inconsistent exposition. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop now and take that.
I think it's mainly most consistently over explained, and we've talked about the repetition of the show and the re-emphasis they have for a lot of different scenes and a lot of different characters and a lot of different perspectives that are just the same. I've said this to you before, and I feel like a lot of the things in the show doesn't change from episode to episode. The circumstances change, but the story itself doesn't really change. Like the same things are kind of happening for the same reasons, but it's the only thing that changes is the circumstances and who's on whose side. Like,
right.
And even then, that's that's very minimal. And a lot of times they're just repeating the same idea and people having the same conviction. And we're talking about Alicent, for example. Alicent, she's had like that awakening to, I need to defeat Rhaenyra like 3 different times.
Yeah.
She wore green, and they really emphasized that she wore green for an important reason.
She took a stance. Very good, very well.
Yeah. And then she stabbed Rhaenyra, and then she said, "Oh," and then the father said, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. You're now willing to kill." Yeah. I'm so proud of you finally coming over to this side. And then this episode, we have the ending line of her also very convinced, as Tiny Bug Boy said as well, that she was also very convinced at the end, be like, yes, I must do what it takes. Because she thinking the king was talking to her about the Song of Fire and Ice. Great reference, by the way. It's just repeating the same ideas over and over again, and like the same
and in the same way,
reassurance.
Not by showing us different ways of exploring the same tropes or messages, but it's really just eating the same thing.
Yes, and I know I've said this before, so I apologize again, chat, because
now we're making the same mistake. We've become the thing we swore to destroy by repeating ourselves all the time. Stay positive, Justin.
But that is comedy. That is hilarious, and that's what the jokes are for here.
Yeah, and
as you know,
and something we do need to talk about on the flip side is, of course, Rhaenyra's convictions. Why is she, staying in this race? And I know you and I were kind of talking a little bit about this before we started, and she's a little. It's not working for me. You go ahead, take it away before I start rambling.
And that's it.
Yeah. So why does she want to? Why does she not just submit to Aegon, for example, or why does she take the fight with Alicent over the throne? Is it because Daddy said so? So I guess I just have to be queen, and I'll kill anyone that stands in my way. I don't really care, but gotta do what you gotta do. Or is it because she's so convinced of this Song of Ice and Fire, Aegon's bullshit retcon dream? Or is it that she just she actually has genuine ambition? She wants
can't
this
be
shit.
ambition because she has done like nothing.
Exactly.
Like I said, she like her actions have been so like lazy in the face of like wanting to be queen for ambition's sake. She wouldn't have had kids with with Mr. Strong if that were the case. She wouldn't have been so upfront and daring in that regard to try and like throw away her title.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just a foul on her part. Who knows? But I also don't see her. She doesn't seem like she is like actively trying to become queen. She's like, I'm going to be queen. What you can do about it? And if she was the antagonist in this scenario, I'd be fine with this. If Alicent in this scenario were the main character to be gripping toward, I feel like that would be more enthralling.
Sure.
To be like looking at Alicent, who has the true heirs to the proper heirs in the sense that they're the ones born of the husband and wife couple that were supposed to be together. But beyond that, I see nothing. And she doesn't seem like the type of character to care about the Song of Ice and Fire.
Oh no, Alicent doesn't give a shit.
I know she brings it up.
She cares about her children, right? And what Daddy says. That's it.
Yes, and it doesn't. Nothing else has shown that she's doing this for the sake of, for my people, for the
world,
for the stop the White Walkers
for the watch.
Type of ordeal. If that's the case, she would be far more. I feel cold about it, or like maybe even like what's the word?
Maybe pretending to care only to not care at all.
Not even pretending, but like she'd be feeling like upset about it because she'd feel conflicted that this is something she needs to do. So she wants to help not doom the world, you know?
Yeah.
But she also like, but I don't want to be queen type of ordeal. Like,
she doesn't want
this isn't something, this isn't who I am.
Yeah.
That would be more interesting in a sense of like being conflicted, and would be a character trait.
Yeah. Wow.
Reason to see her. But for now, it's just, and maybe it would be something that she would evolve into, like to actually want to be for the Song of Ice and Fire. You're like, you know what? No, Dad, you're right.
Yeah.
This is something I want to do for the people. Blah 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 blah. But we always see is to see her be frustrated with it, and like, but also, it's my birthright type of thing.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's again failing at showing the conflicted side. And I'm really disappointed because I really they really propped up this sort of the element of nuance to this show and conflicted gray characters. That's a direct quote from interviews with well, that's what George R. R. Martin himself said. It's what some of the actress of Rhaenyra said that as well. And I just feel like, oh, so that was like a big deal and a big focus on of this show, and they've just really squandered that potential. You can see that they're trying, but again, doing it. Yeah, and it seems to me, Rhaenyra, they've been so back and forth with her, and I get that, and I can appreciate that. You know, she starts out just wanting to ride her dragon and eat cakes all day. Okay, cool. And then she starts to feel a sense of duty and conviction, and she needs to do this. It's her birthright. Nobody else can set these things right and whatever. And so she tackles that responsibility. But I don't see that. You know, I don't get the sense that she has a responsibility to do.
Right.
Because if it were that Rhaenyra feels a responsibility towards setting things right and keeping the peace and saving the world. No, we'll just cut that actually. No. Anyway, and Alicent could feel the same. She could feel that, oh, she has a responsibility to have her son on the throne and to prevent Rhaenyra from screwing things up, so that they both feel the same sense of responsibility in becoming the monarch, like genuinely thinking that they could do it better. which would be so realistic and so relatable, because isn't that basically what real life politics is? You know, everyone thinks they are the ones with the best plan, and they want to prevent the other people who don't have a great plan, even detrimental plans. You know, so that could have been really compelling, and you could relate to both sides, and it could have been great. What could have been? So that's how I feel about that.
Like that's and for those who and we're gonna get the comments that say, "Why are you still watching the show that sucks like this if you hate it this much?" And I think it's because there's so much potential here.
Exactly.
There's so much genuine things, and I like the gray area idea. I really do, but they don't play it up enough. They don't have characters showing like both sides. They just keep them in the middle, or play both sides as if they're picking both. You know?
Yeah. Right.
It's frustrating because you're trying to be like, well, what are you trying to say then?
Yeah.
I want these characters to be alive, you know, and to feel more real, to have more reason, to be motivated to be doing these things that they are, and not just be motivated by the vague ambition of I want power, I want to help my family. I'm doing it for the kids type of thing, or I'm just a dick, you know. They're too straightforward with like their motivations. You can't be gray if your motivations, you know, you have to have motivations to be like in the gray area, because that's what puts people in the gray area, is like what's motivating them to be kind of to go into other extremes against their character, you know. And so that's where I'm at. Is that there is so much potential. There's things I like. There are things that obviously the show is, you know, very technically has a lot of money in it, so it has a lot of visual stuff in it that's interesting. But every time I think they're doing something interesting, they drop the ball, and it's just frustrating. It's interesting because I feel like I'm learning a lot. What not to do.
Yeah, that is
we'll
fair.
talk about that later. I think mainly that comes to the problem of the timeline, like kind of screwing them over. But we could discuss
I would add
at the end.
that not only the timeline and the pacing, but also the fact that the focus is not on the characters. The focus is on the themes and messages. Is what I'm gathering here. That when they've written these characters, they are representations of messages. They are representing some sort of agenda, which they shouldn't be representing some agenda. They should be representing themselves as people. Oh my goodness, my voice is breaking up because I'm just so passionate. I feel so strongly about these things.
he's a very passionate guy. This guy, you should know.
If you only knew. So
weeps himself to sleep every night.
Yeah, because House of the Dragon is not living up to his potential, and the characters are not the people they could be, if only. I think, I mean, it ties into each other, but I think even with the timeline stuff, the time jumps and the very restraining time pacing, if they'd focused on the characters as people, they could have still made them feel compelling. They could have achieved all these things that they're clearly going if they'd just done it a little bit different. In that regard.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So, that's I think the most sort of confusing thing that happened in this episode was the motivations there, because I feel like it's pretty clear where it's all going. Then, the whole Song of Ice and Fire stuff as motivation is just kind of throwing everything off. It's so unnecessary. Like,
that's in the book too?
No, God, no. That's why it's so strange that they added it. Like, no, it's not there, and it shouldn't be, because
it's a reference.
Yes, because they're trying to justify how Game of Thrones ended. That is That is why. And I don't understand why anyone would want to attempt that in the first place, because everyone hates the way it ended. Or yeah, not everyone. There are some people who thought it was great. To be fair, but yeah. Thank you for the super chat, Sarah. I see you right there. The focus is on the constant side eye, at least one every scene. The constant side eye. What do you mean by that, Sarah? Is that Aemond and the way he's like constantly looking around at people and giving little looks, or is it that everyone is giving everyone looks?
I think that's what you're saying. Everyone's just constantly side-eyeing each other, like, "Oh, that person's here. How dare they be here?"
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it's I mean, I appreciate a good side eye, but then again, that needs build up, and it needs tension, genuine tension to sort of work. You can't just force that in there, like shoehorn a side eye and say like, "Oh, look at this tension." It's like, no, it's not there. But yeah, and now Uriah is filling in as well with mention of episode 9, which is gonna really shake things up. I'm genuinely excited for all my criticism. I'm genuinely excited for the king just finally being dead, and episode 9 rolling around with hopefully a big shake up. So I'm hoping to maybe see some dragons in action, not just for the sake of dragons in action, but meaningful action, whatever it may be. If it's side eyes or dragons fighting it out in the sky, I want it to be meaningful. So that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, but now I want to hear your predictions for. We've only got 2 episodes left, Justin. So what are your predictions for how these last 2 are going to pan out? What do you think is going to be the main event in episode 9? And chat, guys, I see you. I want your predictions as well. And then we'll move on to rating this episode on pizza toppings.
Here's the thing. I'm scared they're going to try to pull like exactly the same thing they pulled with Game of Thrones season 1 with like Rhaenyra dying, and be like, "Oh, look, this person was the main character, but now they're dead." But, the difference between Rhaenyra dying and Ned dying is that Ned was a good character, and
had so much to live for.
Ned. Yeah, and they had so much to live for, and I suppose Rhaenyra does too, in a sense of like technically, as she could be queen if she lived.
Yeah.
But
that would be a big change from the books,
the fact that,
which, since they are very much in the business of trying to subvert expectations, it seems to me anyway. A little bit of shock value here and there. I would be surprised if they did that, because that's a big change from the book. Okay, that's a little bit of a spoiler. My apologies. I don't expect Rhaenyra to die in episode 9.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, you're right. Like, that would be really trying to be Game of Thrones, and I really hope they don't.
Do they have a lot of potential to change things from the books from this point onward?
I suppose, in a way, we all know where it's going because we've seen Game of Thrones and we've read the books, some of us, and I mean, like, how many? Rhaenyra still put it this way: Rhaenyra still has something to offer in the story, in the books, in these last 2 episodes, and spoiler alert, moving forward. I would say so. I would be surprised to see her getting sliced off, but then again, stranger things have happened. And I'm just curious because they haven't, like, they painted her out as the main character, but they haven't built her character, So to kill her now, that would be so pointless. Even just looking at I feel like it would be this this self-contained season, no other context taken into consideration. Wouldn't that feel pointless?
Trying to pull the same fast card as Game of Thrones is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like they would be going for the exact same pool.
No, I get it. But, I'm afraid of them doing that, because like that would be bad, I think. I really don't see how that would work, because her character has not done anything. She has not, like Ned Stark, like he had a complete arc, all things considered. Very satisfying, and still had things to live for, which is why his character is so satisfying shock. It's satisfying narratively speaking. Of course, he's my favorite character, so I wanted to see more of him when he died. And I was like, no, why are they doing that? And I cried like every other crybaby, saying like, no, they're killing my favorite character. I don't like it. But that's just the thing. I do like it because it makes sense and it's well done, and it's like it's satisfying whether I like it or not. It sounds contradictory to say maybe, but it is a satisfying conclusion, and I don't think that they can do that with Rhaenyra, because there's nothing satisfying to be done with her before she does anything. Okay, I've said that too many times already now. But yeah. Let's see where the chat is going with this. Sarah and Uriah are debating away. Sarah says, okay, yeah. Uriah thinks that Rhaenyra barely has a character to kill, which is true. Yeah, I think that's my entire point right there. Summed up very nicely.
But yeah, I am interested to see, like, because from everything that's built up, there's been so much build up. There has to be some sort of twist here, or not twist, but like something has to happen. Something finally has to give.
Yeah,
something should have something should have gave long ago before this point,
Right.
But I'm still interested to see it give and see what is going to transpire.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's true. Like maybe the starting point could have been different of the show. Show could have started at a different place, and something could have given maybe as a build up to the story. Like they can mention how they could do the whole exposition thing about how something gave and now everything's in motion. But then again, that might have been quite difficult to pull off as well. Hello, she said. Welcome. Better late than never to the party. I hope you'll enjoy the remainder of this discussion, because now we're getting to everybody's favorite part, and I'm so stoked to hear all of your hot takes. We are going to rate this episode based on a scale of pizza toppings. So I'll go to you first, as always, my esteemed colleague Justin, rating this episode as a pizza topping.
Last week was
seafood.
Last week was seafood.
My favorite take from seafood was the cocktail shrimp, I think. That's what I remember.
Well, cocktail shrimp is good.
I mean, it looks nice, but when you eat it, it's just like, it doesn't taste as good as it looks.
No, it's the urchin. It looks painful, and then there's something edible in the middle, but it's not worth it.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Okay, but pizza toppings. What about
pizza toppings? Ooh, anchovies might be up there. Ooh, black olives. They don't add anything, and they just make the pizza look worse.
What? I love black olives. The way they look and the way they taste. I didn't used to like them as a kid, though. Always pointed to see that, but now I love it. Big fan. Okay, I'm gonna have to disagree with that then and go with something else.
Well, you're incorrect then.
And
I'm sorry.
I'm also
you're wrong, fair. As you've always been.
Oh my goodness! Stop it already. So, pizza conversations or debate already running hot. That's good. That's a good thing. I'm a big fan of pineapple as well, so I'm gonna have to.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to go with a pizza topping. Yes, that looks nice but doesn't do anything. I like where you're going. With that, what's a good pizza topping for that? I'm kind of stalling at the moment because as always, my imagination is not very good. Probably banana. I'm gonna go with banana. In my country, in the Swiss islands, yes, we put bananas on pizza. I know, it's weird as hell, but we do it, and it doesn't stop there, my friend.
The most psychopathic thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
I know, because not only that, it gets worse. Banana and curry, yellow curry. Like the powder, like the spice curry. So it's like a curry banana pizza. You know what? To be fair to curry banana pizza, it's not as horrible as it sounds. But then again, it's absolutely not anywhere near a pizza I would go for if I went. So, I would go with banana without the curry.
To be fair, I've had a butter chicken pizza once. That was all right.
That sounds great, though.
Weird.
Chicken on pizza's fine.
Whack pizza. I also had an apricot, and what else was on it? Apricots and jam pizza. That
jam?
One was wild. Yeah.
Okay. Well, apricots and jam. Okay, that sounds like sweet plus more sweet. How was that?
It was wild, but look. Bananas, that's too far. That's too far.
Oh, that's insulting to House of the Dragon, is it? To compare.
To you. I'm just saying, well, look, all the chats with me on this one.
I see the comments rolling in about banana now.
Mason and Araya. And even though Araya is wrong because pineapple is fantastic on a pizza, Araya. What the hell, man?
Yeah, Uriah, what is this? Now I'm going to have to team up with Justin against you, Uriah. Pineapple on pizza is great. I always go for that. Like, seriously, I think if there's any one pizza that I've had the most in my life, it's Hawaiian pizza with pineapple. Seriously, it's a great combo. Haters gonna hate.
But it's gotta be black olives. Black olives are awful.
I love black olives. Screw you.
I'm sorry.
That's the second most I've had. That's not true. But I would now I'm gonna have that for lunch for sure. I'm actually I'm seriously ordering a pizza with olives after this.
Like right now.
Like right now, guys. Bear with me while I order it on my phone right now.
Vinicus, you're too late. We're talking about pizza. I'm sorry, Vinicus. Let's come back next week and bring. We'll have a once the show is on episode 10. We'll definitely have an overall review to go over. Stuff like
we're doing a double stream. It's like we're doing 2 hours for.
I don't know if we can do that. That's gonna be so long.
We're already on like almost 1.5 hours. So like if we can do this for a show where nothing's
10 p.m.
happened,
as it is right now for me.
It's only 1 o'clock for me, so it's totally fine. Justin, you can sit there and zombie away while I'm full of energy because the sun's up over here. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. Pizza toppings, and I knew it was going to go this way.
Make a decision.
I knew it was going to go this way because pizza toppings are divisive. I love it.
Okay, what about anchovies? I don't think anchovies belong on a pizza.
No,
I think that's the problem. Is that okay, guys?
Listen,
come on. I'm sorry, Sarah. Olives, I don't agree, but we can compromise. Anchovies on a pizza. That's wrong. That's incorrect. That's immoral. That's what you do. That's what you offer the Satan on a platter. It's be like, hey, you want to team up? I got a pizza with the anchovies on it.
That's literally what you wish on your worst enemy. It's harmless enough, but it's also.
I'm just imagining, like, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Like, just you're at the Civil War, and you call the colonel, and just like you Uber eats them a pizza with anchovies. It's like a bomb going off. It's like, how dare he?
An eye for an eye, an anchovies pizza for an anchovies pizza. Yes. No, I feel like anchovies, that's a bit over the line for me.
Araya made up a good point.
Pineapple on pizza always inspires argument. Whoa.
Like this episode, like this show.
Well, I feel like pizza toppings is what inspires argument, but you are correct. It's always about pineapple on pizza. We all knew it was going to get to this, right? To pineapple, some sort of pineapple debate or another. But yeah, I do want to touch on the olives and what Sarah's pointing out there. Olives, feta, mozzarella. That's a lot of that's two cheeses there at once. Feta and mozzarella. I'm not too sure about that, but you know what? Black olives and feta cheese. Oh my goodness, with a bit of basil. Oh yes, that's what I hope the next 2 episodes are gonna be like. Creme de la creme, top-notch stuff is what I am hoping for.
Okay, we're gonna get Mr. Vulture to bed. He seems to be in another dimension.
In the middle of the day.
Thanks,
You're
guys.
the one who's going to bed. You're the one in the time zone from yesterday.
Okay. Well,
I'm in the future,
I'm just
baby.
trying to help you.
That's fair enough. Okay, well, can we get a couple last-ditch pizza toppings in here to rate this episode? We've got pineapple, which is fine. Seeing how divisive it is, and to be fair, I love pineapple on pizza. Lots of people think it's an abomination, and you know what? 50% of the votes on this episode said amazing, and I would not agree with that. So pineapple on pizza, I think, is a good summary for. What would you say?
That's all right. I can agree to these terms if I must.
Very well. That sounds like an equitable compromise, shall we say? 4 cheeses. Yes. Quattro funghi, or whatever you'd call a pizza like that.
Yeah, fungus, my favorite cheese.
What? Funghi means... No, it doesn't. It means mushroom. Damn it. I was wrong. What's cheese? What's cheese in Italian? Guys, help me out. Gosh darn it. I'm supposed to be the cultured one around here, and I can't even make the difference between... Maybe I should just go to bed. You're right. I should just go to bed. Guys, I'm sorry. It's... Yeah, I don't know what cheese is in Italian. I do know this at the back of my head, on my tongue, but... Apparently, I cannot do it right now. So, with that said, I want to thank you all for your pizza topping submissions and for joining us this lovely evening / afternoon / wherever you are and whenever you are for joining us. It's been great. It's been another almost 1.5 hour just flying by talking about positives about House of the Dragon. Yeah, good job, guys, for staying so positive, and especially you, my esteemed colleague, singular, Justin Anderson.
Yo,
thank you very much. Fromage. There we go. Sarah's got it. Fromage is the formaggio. That's it. Formaggio in fromage is French. Formaggio is the word for cheese in Italian. Thank you for that, Sarah. Sorry for interrupting you, Justin. Some closing words from yourself about cheese or otherwise.
It has to be about cheese.
Or otherwise.
Oh, okay. Or otherwise. Well, cheese is good. That's all I have to say. And we look forward to talking to you guys next week. We'll be getting close to it, to the end. So we'll see what we'll be doing next week and the week after. Fingers crossed, my friends, for these next 2 episodes.
Yes, sir. All right. So, again, thanks everyone for joining, and thanks for interacting with us today. It's been a great discussion as always. Uriah, Sarah, Shukri, she said, a tiny boy, and everyone who joined in, and the she said who joined in a little late, Mason and Vinicius as well. Thank you all for joining and being a part of this lovely stream, and I hope to see you all back next week. So that's all from us for today. So I wish you a good day, good night, good afternoon, wherever it is, wherever you are, and Merry Christmas. Goodbye.
Adios.